YouTube, what's going on? YC Image in here with another tutorial. And since part 1 of this went over so well, I'm going to be doing part 2 to my music video effects tutorials with no external plugins. And today I'm going to be doing this on Adobe Premiere Pro 2017, but I'm sure you can recreate the majority of these effects in whatever editing program you're on, Final Cut Pro X, Sony Vegas, etc. So let's dive straight into it. Alright, so I have my project set up right here and my clip that I'm going to be applying the actual effects to. I'm gonna go down, and the first effect that we're gonna be applying is called the clip zoom. I'm naming this, so it really doesn't matter. You can call it whatever you want to call it. I'm gonna call it the clip zoom, and basically what it is basically you just adjusting the crop of your footage, and behind it you're gonna get a nice motion blur, give it a nice intense effect, intense feel to your music video. So we're gonna go down to our effects panel, and we're gonna search for transform, and we're gonna drop transform on the clip that we want to apply the effect to. Cool. Alright, so we have transform, and the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to uncheck the use composition shutter angle, and we're going to jack that shutter angle way up. And basically what this is going to do is this is what's going to give you the motion blur, and it's basically just a workaround After Effects, because After Effects gives you those nice motion blurs when you do the movements, but we don't want to go into After Effects. We want to do this in Premiere. So up the shutter angle way up to 360, and we're just going to start by adjusting the actual crop of our footage. So let's add in a keyframe right here on position. We're going to also add in a keyframe right here on scale. Let's go over 3 keyframes. If you didn't know, you can just push right on the actual keyboard to go over 1 frame. So we're going to push right 3 times, 1, 2, 3, move over 3 frames. We're going to add in another keyframe, and on that second keyframe that we added, we're going to adjust our crop for our actual clip. So let's just up the scale a bit to like 145, and we'll drop this position down as well just to get that framing a little bit better. Cool. Then we're gonna go over 3 more keyframes, 1, 2, 3. On this keyframe that we're adding, we're not gonna do anything to it, just leave that as is. And we're gonna go over another 3 keyframes, 1, 2, 3. Add another keyframe right there as well. So on this one, we're gonna adjust the crop of this just a bit. So I'm just gonna move this over to the left, maybe scale it up even more. Then we're gonna go over 3 more keyframes, and the keyframes in between is basically just you leaving them alone. Then we're gonna go over 3 more keyframes, add in another keyframe, and we are going to adjust this a different way as well. You'll see what I'm doing in a second, so you can really gauge on what you want to do to your footage. So let's just show you what this looks like. You can go through and you can add in how many of these as you want. Now let's go back a bit so you can see what actually happened. As you can see, it gives it a nice intense effect, you know what I mean? You're just moving the camera around, it almost looks real because it has that motion blur behind it. As I said, you can really go in and gauge how many keyframes you want to add to your footage. You can add in a lot, and I think this makes this look dope. So that is the clip zoom. As I said, go in, make it cool, add as many keyframes as you want. The second effect that we're going to be diving into is called the flash build, and I personally think that this effect works better in transition form. So I'm going to show you it with one clip transitioning into another clip. So the first thing we're going to want to do is go down to our effects panel, and we're going to search for brightness, and we're going to get the brightness and contrast right here. Drop it on our first initial clip that's going to be transitioning to the next one, and we're going to scrub over to the actual frame where it transitions into the next clip. So we're here, and we're just gonna drop a keyframe right here at that actual point where it transitions into the next clip. And we're gonna scrub back 10 frames. As I said before, if you just use the arrow on the actual keyboard of yours, it will take you back 1 keyframe. So let's just push left 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we'll add in another keyframe right here. If you push this arrow right here, it'll jump you back to your first initial keyframe that you put in. So let's just push that, and we're back at that first initial keyframe. So now that we're here, we're just gonna up the brightness all the way up to 100, and let's just see how that looks. As you can see, it increases, but it just looks bland. It's just going at the same speed. What we want is a build. We want it to start off a bit slow and then go fast at the end. So the way that we are going to do this is, let's just scrub back to that first initial keyframe that we added in, and let's push this drop down arrow on the actual brightness. We go down to velocity, and this is what we're going to be adjusting. So if you zoom into your actual keyframes right here, if you push this button, You see right here, when you hover over this actual point right here, you see that circle that pops up on your arrow. You're gonna wanna push right there. And what this is gonna do is it's gonna enable your velocity. And if you go up to this point right here, you drag it over to the right, and pull it down. As you can see, it's building a hill for us. You can see it's just an incline. We're gonna drop that down so we see a nice hill and put it like that. And as you can see, it's building a hill for us. So it's gonna start off slow, and then around the end it's gonna go fast. So let's just check that out in comparison to the first brightness keyframes that we added. Let's just see how this looks. As you can see, that looks tight, goes slow, and then it speeds up at the end. And we can also add in a brightness transition to the second clip that we're transitioning into as well. So we can have this one build up, and we can have this one right here, this second clip right here, come off of a flash. So the way that we can do that is basically what we just did to the first clip. If we go in and we add the brightness and contrast to this clip, we'll add in that first initial keyframe. We'll go over 10 keyframes, we'll go over 10 frames just like we did in the first one. So let's go over 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Add in another keyframe right there. Push this left one to go to the first initial keyframe that we added in. And we'll boost that all the way up to 100. And we'll hit this drop down arrow just like we did in the first clip. Just like we did, we're doing the exact same thing. And if we click right here on this, it'll enable the velocity tab. And if we zoom this in, we just grab this part right here, pull it to the left this time though, because we're going in reverse. And we'll go up, and as you can see, it's building another hill for it, just like we did on the first clip. Cool, we got that. So this is gonna come in slow, it's gonna go fast to the flash, and then it's gonna come off this clip slow. And that looks super cool. Real professional flash right there. And that is the flash build. The next effect that we're going to be diving into is the mirror effect. I know that this is not new by any means, and it's been around for a while, but I'm sure there are a lot of people who don't know how to use it, and I'm going to show you all how I use it, just a different way than a lot of people that I've seen use it. So the way that I like to use the mirror effect is I'll go through the clip and I'll find a portion of the clip that I want to add the mirror effect to. I've seen people add it to entire clips, which I don't really like to do. So I'll find the portion that I want to add it to, which will be right here to maybe around here. He's hyping this part, so I probably add it like right there. And we'll cut the clip, the portion that we want to add it to. Just go to our effects panel right here, and we're going to search mirror. Got it. Drop it right on that portion that we want to add it to. And first things first, we're going to want to adjust our reflection angle. So I would want to use this in a vertical manner, so I'm going to do 180 degrees on the reflection angle. You can do whatever you want personally, but I'm just going to show you all how I would like to do it on this clip. And if you adjust this actual adjustment on the reflection angle, the left one, it's going to be what you're going to want to adjust for the 180 degrees. And you can really put this over the way you want it to. I'll probably put it like right here. I think this looks cool. And a way to get this to transition in a cool way is I would personally go in and add like an additive dissolve before and after. Not a big one, very small one, just to give it a nice flash effect to it at the beginning and end, as I said. So it flashes in and flashes out. You can do whatever you want. You can add in a cross dissolve. You can non-additive dissolve this, which will probably look super cool as well. I'm actually going to try that to see how that will look. So let's just run through it and see. As you can see, it flashes in, flashes out, looks super cool. But let's try the non-additive dissolve to see how that looks, because I like that. It gives it almost like a glitch effect in a sense when I use it most of the time. So we'll put that in and we'll make that small as well. Nothing big. We don't want this to really stretch and extend out. Just want it to come in quick, in and out. See how this looks. Not really anything that goes on there. I would probably use the additive dissolve, but that's the mirror effect right there. As I said, you can really adjust the angle to whatever you want. I wanted the vertical mirror split, so I did 180. If you want to do a horizontal split, you can do a 90. As you can see right there, it splits in the middle. You can also add in an additive dissolve to transition between those two as well. Just get creative, do what you want to do with that. But I want to see how this will look with the actual horizontal to see if that's cool or not. And I'm gonna stick to the actual 180 vertical. That's the mirror effect right there. Next effect that we're gonna dive into, which is used widely in a lot of music videos, is hi-hat cuts. And hi-hat cuts are very easy to do. I'm just gonna show you all a few different variations of hi-hat cuts and what I like to do to add a little difference to it, just to spice it up a little bit. So let's dive straight into hi-hat cuts. So I know you've heard in a song where you have like the beats chopping up real fast, and it's almost like a flicker. It has a few different names for this, but I just call it hi-hat cut. So you find a portion of the video where you want to add the hi-hat cut set, and if you just want to do it regular, what I like to do is I mark off the portions where it's going to be cutting at, and I'll zoom all the way in on the timeline. So zoom all the way in, and what this is going to do is you select your razor tool, and every time you move it over, it's going to go over a frame. So if you zoom all the way in, it'll automatically lock to those things, so you won't have to worry about if you're doing it the right way or not. So well, let's just mark off a couple, and if you just want to do regular hi-hat cuts, like I said, you just go in, you cut it, and you remove every other frame clip, and you just delete it. As you can see right there, you get your standard hi-hat cuts. You know, that's just a standard way to do it, but like I said, I'm going to show you all a few different ways and variations that I like to personally do it. So I mark off the portion of the clip that I want to add it to, and we're just gonna copy this. We're just gonna copy and paste this. So if you actually push on the Option key and drag this up, it's gonna duplicate it, put it right over, or you can copy and paste and just drag it right over top. And a few different ways that I like to do this is we can do the rotation one. So let's just rotate this 180 degrees, which is gonna flip it over. And if we zoom all the way in on the timeline, like I said before, grab our razor tool, cut each frame, and we cut out each other one. Basically what this is gonna do is, on the hi-hat cuts, every other one is gonna be upside down, which gives it a cool effect. So we can do that. Let y'all see how that looks. As you can see, it's upside down on some of them. And you'll wanna cut out that end portion as well, so it goes back the right way. So that's a cool one. All right, so you got the rotation. You can do the scale one as well. So if we take off that rotation and we just go in and we just scale this up just a little bit, or you can do it a lot as well. If you scale it up, you go in, you do your hi-hat cuts. Every other clip that this transitions into or cuts into is gonna be a little bit bigger, which is gonna give this a dope effect as well. Just go in, delete these. See how that looks. As you can see, it gives it man, that's so hard to that's so hard to say. It's gonna give it an in and out effect. There we go. All right, so we got the scale one. We can also do what else can we do? We can do a bunch of different things. You can do the scale and the rotation, which is gonna give this in and out and different angle on that. You can do, let's just do a flash one. Let's just go to brightness. We're gonna drop the brightness and contrast on this, and we're gonna up the brightness just a little bit on this one. So every other time when it comes in and out, it's gonna flash. Just cut this out real quick to see how this is gonna look. So you can do the flash one, which is dope as well. I've done the flash one a few times, which looks pretty dope. As I said, this is just a few different things to do to it, just to spice it up a little bit. You can do the flash one. And another one that you can do that looks actually pretty sick as well is you can invert this. And this goes on and on. There's so many different things you can do to the hi-hat cuts, and you know, just to give it a little bit of difference to it. So we're gonna add the invert to this one, but we're gonna delete the brightness and contrast because we don't want that. Cut through, cut this, cut that through. See what that looks like. Yeah, actually it's pretty cool. And it has a zoom on it as well. I forgot I didn't take the scale off, but the scale and the actual invert looks pretty dope. As I said, man, it's a bunch of different things you can do with that. You just gotta get creative. It's too many different things you can do with this, man. You can do the hi-hat cuts into the actual zoom in and out, the quick zoom. It's like, you just gotta get creative with these things, man. You combine these effects right here that I showed you with part 1 of this, and you'll have yourself a nice stylized music video. If you enjoyed this video, man, and you want to see part 3 of the music video effects tutorials with no external plugins, make sure to drop me a like. Also, if you are not a subscriber on the channel, we do music video effects here. We do music video effects tutorials. We do tutorials in general. We do vlogs. We do tests. We do freaking reviews. We do it all, man. So subscribe to the channel right now, man, if you want to be updated on the content that I have coming soon. I hope that you all did enjoy this video, man, and I'm gonna check y'all out on my next one. Peace.